Hi, welcome to Eric's Movie Corner. I'm Eric, and I'm here to talk about movies. Let's do it. So, for those of you that may not have watched the introduction video that I posted first on this channel, and I don't know why you would have skipped that masterpiece of artistic work, one of the reasons I started this channel is to try and embrace my role as elder statesman. Today we start that journey to try and get some younger viewers to go back and watch some of what I consider to be classics. I figure one of the best ways to do this is to start with the unholy trilogy of slashers: Halloween, Friday the 13th, and A Nightmare on Elm Street. For simplicity's sake, I'm just going to do these in order of release. So we're going to start today with Halloween, that came out in 1978. Halloween has a pretty simple setup. In 1963, a young boy by the name of Michael Myers stabs his sister to death. Nobody knows why. And he gets locked away in a mental institution. His doctor, played by actor Donald Pleasance, at first tries to understand why he would do such a thing, and then comes to believe that Michael Myers is pure evil and dedicates himself to keeping him locked up for the rest of his life. Unfortunately, 15 years later in 1978, Michael escapes from the mental hospital and goes back to his hometown to resume killing. This movie stars a very young Jamie Lee Curtis. For those of you that don't know, Jamie Lee Curtis is the daughter of Janet Leigh, who was one of the stars in Psycho in 1960 by Alfred Hitchcock. Very notable movie. And at the time, they were also trying to recruit her to be in Psycho 2. That didn't come to be, but she ended up in this movie, so that's fine, because she's great in it. Halloween was made on a budget of around $300,000, which is not a big budget. This is notable in horror movie history because it went on to make, depending on where you look, on IMDb it says it pulled in $47 million at the box office, and I found a Screen Rant article earlier today that said $70 million at the box office. Either way, it was a massive success financially and pulled in boatloads of money. Is one of the reasons people started making tons of horror movies in the 80s, because movie producers realized that they could make a horror movie and not spend very much doing so, and probably pull in a whole bunch of money at the box office. So Halloween started the trend. It was also notable because it had the stalker killer with a first person point of view used in the movie. Now hang on. Those of you who are not the younger ones that haven't seen this yet are going to start yelling at me going, Black Christmas did it first, Peeping Tom. I know all that. But those movies weren't nearly as successful as Halloween, which is Halloween usually gets the credit, even though it may have not been technically first. Halloween's written and directed by John Carpenter. John Carpenter also scored the movie. It's very notable for you musicians out there. The main theme of Halloween is written in 5/4. Which is a little unusual. There's also a fantastic theme he uses when you're watching Michael stalk people during the movie. I'm not going to include any of that music in my clips that I use today, because I don't want to anger the copyright gods. But I did find links to both of those things on YouTube, and I'll include them in the description below. You can check them out while you're liking and subscribing the video. So Halloween was filmed in California, but the story is set in Illinois, which made it a little bit difficult because they had to find dry leaves to have blowing around since it was supposed to take place on Halloween. Also, they had a difficult time finding pumpkins because it was actually shot in the spring. So there's all sorts of movie trickery going on to make this movie look like it was supposed to be in Illinois on Halloween, and none of those things were true when they were shooting the movie. So just a little tidbit for you there. This movie is considered to be one of the original massive slasher forefathers, and definitely inspired Friday the 13th, and probably inspired a lot of people who directed horror movies after that. I'm about to go into spoiler territory and show you some clips of some parts of the movie that I think are notable. So if you haven't seen it yet by some chance, please go watch it. It is a horror classic, and you should put it under your belt. So let's go into spoiler territory, and we can check out some of these scenes that are notable. All right, the first clip I'm going to show you here, you may have seen memes of this all over social media because people use this shot to put funny captions on all the time. And it's when Laurie and her friends are walking along and Laurie sees Michael step out from behind a hedge and then disappear. This next clip I'm going to show you is just a favorite of mine because Dr. Loomis is a very gloom and doom character in this series of movies. He's always running around telling people how they're all doomed and Michael is going to kill everybody because he's pure evil. And in this clip right here, he's hanging out by the old Myers house because he thinks that Michael might come back there. And a bunch of kids come along because they all think the house is haunted. And they're daring one of their friends to go in the house. And just the look of glee on his face when he scares these kids away from the door. I think it might be the only time we see Loomis happy in the whole series. Check it out.
I'm not afraid. Bull. I'm not. Then go in. Go in!
Hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
This next shot is one of Michael's first kills. And I think it's very interesting because, first of all, you don't see a drop of blood here. He straight up kills somebody and there's no blood. So that's kind of interesting the way they pulled that off. Also, there's just this classic moment here where after he's killed him, his victim ends up pinned to the wall and he kind of pulls this tilting head thing like he's a dog or something, checking it out because he doesn't understand it. And I think that's kind of cool. This next shot is, I think, one of the greatest reveals in horror movie history. The way they did this, simple dimmer switch. Not a huge amount of technology going on here, but man, is it effective. As Michael just seems to come into existence in the background here. Check it out. Then this next clip here is kind of towards the ends of the movie here. The character of Laurie here kind of sets the bar for final girls when, as she's trapped in the closet, she has the ingenuity to unbend a wire coat hanger and stab Michael Myers in the eye with it. However, she also sets the bar for final girl stupidity when she doesn't check to make sure he's dead as she comes out of the closet. So we get this shot here, which is really creepy because we think he's dead, and then he just kind of sits up. And then, of course, we get the ending of the movie, which sets up a franchise in which Dr. Loomis shows up and shoots Michael several times, and then Michael just kind of poof, he's gone. Don't know where he is, but apparently he's not dead yet. So that's kind of cool. Check it out.
Was the boogeyman.
As a matter of fact, it was.
So yes, those are some of the great moments of Halloween right there. Interestingly enough, there was a direct sequel to this, Halloween 2, also starring Jamie Lee Curtis. Just continuing the story from where this leaves off. And going through another night of terror in Haddonfield. There was also a Halloween movie made in 2018, which instead of going that route, just pretends that none of the other sequels existed and catches up with Laurie 40 years later to see what her life is like after she went through that trauma and had a daughter. So, Halloween, it's a classic. Hopefully you have it under your belt at this point. And if for some reason you've gotten this far in this review without watching it, silly, go watch it. Thanks for tuning in to Eric's Movie Corner. Please like and subscribe below, and I'll come back again later to talk about more movies. Thanks for watching.